Coming up on today's Airborne, Canada certifies the R66, EAA, a leadership in financial transition, and the Eclipse Jet certified and delivered in South Africa. Welcome to Airborne on Aero-TV. I'm Ashley Hale. The R66 light turbine helicopter is now certified in Canada. The approval came last week, May 31st. Canadian certification reached a standstill until the FAO's equivalent level of safety finding that effectively removed an exemption in the R66 original type certificate. During certification, the FAA granted Robinson an exemption from a regulation requiring hydraulic control systems be designed with a backup in case of failure. The FAA exemption was based on the hydraulic system's simple design and proven history as the R-44's hydraulic system, which is the same and has accumulated millions of flight hours without incident. The ELOS was granted in early February 2013 after the FAA, along with representatives from Transport Canada, witnessed tests that clearly demonstrated a pilot could easily maintain control of the aircraft in the event of hydraulic failure. To date, 20 countries have certified the R66, including the US, Australia, Brazil, Canada, Japan, Russia, and South Africa. There are close to 400 R66 helicopters operating worldwide. With the recent publication of EAA's 2011 through 2012 IRS Forms 990s, details are emerging that show that their first major leadership transition in recent years, 2011 to be specific, was a costly one. All told, for the period ending February 29, 2012, EAA expended some $2,250,395 for just the top 8 management positions specified in their IRS documentation. A rather hefty $947,242 was paid to just 2 persons, Rod Hightower and Tom Poberezny, even though Tom departed EAA some 6 months before the end of the period for which this 990 was filed. Mind you, Tom's compensation was actually paid out by monies coming from the EAA Foundation rather than the EAA itself. EAA answered a number of ANN's questions beyond the scope of this reporting period and revealed one particularly surprising detail: that in the other transition period since the departure of Rod Hightower last fall, EAA Chairman Jack Pelton is taking no salary or compensation as he guides EAA through this somewhat difficult period. Only Pelton's direct expenses are being reimbursed. Responding to questions from ANN, Pelton expressed that, quote, EAA is an organization that has been a part of my life for many years. My dad was a member of Chapter 1 in California. I strongly believe in the mission of EAA and its culture. I'm happy to offer what I can to keep moving EAA forward. As the EAA chairman of the board holds a key leadership role, but is also a volunteer position, I didn't feel it would be right to accept a salary while working with our exceptional board and the staff in Oshkosh with the additional duties of CEO. It is part of, as they say, being all in and committed, end quote. Eclipse Aerospace has received a type certificate validation from the South African Civil Aviation Authority for the Eclipse Twin-Engine Jet, and the first Eclipse Jet has been exported to South Africa. JP Forey, National Airways Corporation's Director of Fixed Wing Sales, states, quote, "It has been an absolute delight to work with the Eclipse team to make this a reality. We are now perfectly positioned to service our customers in Africa and South Africa with a product that is top of its class and fully supported by Eclipse Aerospace, who excel in meeting and exceeding customer expectations," end quote. The Eclipse Jet made its first appearance in Africa at the AAD in Waterkloof in September of 2012. This marks the 46th country in which the Eclipse Jet is certified for use. Skip Stewart is the 2013 recipient of the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship. Skip is known worldwide for his innovative high-energy airshow performances in his highly modified Pitts biplane. He is a master at grabbing the audience's attention with his spine-tingling tumbles, ribbon cuts, and knife-edge passes. Skip has also been an innovator with multi-dimensional theme acts like 10 sticks and flying under a jumping motorcycle. Skip has been infatuated with airplanes as long as he can remember, and built remote-controlled models as a kid. But it was the flying of the great Leo Laudenslager, another Barber Award winner, which inspired Skip to set his goals high and eventually pursue an airshow flying career. Today, in addition to an extensive schedule of North American air shows, Skip is one of a handful of performers who flies worldwide, with shows in the United Arab Emirates, Australia, the Caribbean, and Latin America to his credit. He now has 2 Prometheus biplanes to help facilitate his wide-ranging schedule and has a new custom-designed all-composite biplane under construction. The Bill Barber Award for Showmanship began in 1986 and is awarded to airshow performers or teams that have demonstrated great skill and showmanship. Skip joins a growing list of honorees that reads like an airshow Hall of Fame, including such names as Patty Wagstaff, Bobby Yunkin, Gene Soucy, and many others. Virginia has become the first state to establish its very own Seaplane Pilots Association. Tom Patton has that story.
The Virginia Seaplane Pilots Association, or VSPA, was created during the Lake Anna splash-in held May 23rd and 24th north of Richmond, Virginia. That's according to information from the Seaplane Pilots Association. Bill Fosdick, the president of the newly formed organization, said Virginia is already considered a seaplane-friendly state with 209 active seaplane pilots. Those attending the splash-in voted unanimously for the association's formation and elected Fosdick as its first president. Creation of the association was supported by the Virginia Department of Aviation. They hope to educate, promote, and preserve seaplane operations throughout the Commonwealth. Education of public officials, decision-makers, other waterway users, and the general public about seaplanes and their operations is key to their continued acceptance on the state's waterways. One objective of the VSPA is to document information on landing waterways in the Commonwealth, as well as contact information for those who have oversight responsibilities for those waterways in the Virginia Airport Directory and SPA Directory. For Airborne, I'm Tom Patton.
You're watching Airborne. More in a moment.
Since its inception, Redbird Flight Simulations has been dedicated to developing new training technologies and processes in an ongoing effort to make aviation safer, more affordable, and more accessible. Consider Redbird's flagship flight training device, the FMX, a superior quality, full-motion, feature-rich advanced aviation training device priced with real-world flight training organizations in mind. With standard features that are anything but standard, such as wraparound visuals, a fully enclosed cockpit, quick change configurations, scenario-based training compatibility, and of course, an electric motion platform, the FMX serves up a level of realism that is simply unavailable in other training devices on the market. For more information on Redbird flight simulations, the Redbird FMX, and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com.
Welcome back. If you'd like to suggest a story for Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or podcast, drop us an email to news-by@aero-news.net. It's one of aviation's oldest unsolved mysteries. What happened to Amelia Earhart? Now, one group believes they may have found her airplane. Sonar data recorded last summer by the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, TIGHAR, may point to the remains of Amelia Earhart's Lockheed Electra on the bottom of the ocean near Garner Island, which is known as Nikamararu. In March of this year, Richard Conroy, a member of the group's Amelia Earhart Search Forum, noted an anomaly in the sonar map on an underwater cliff that had previously gone unnoticed. This new area of interest was discovered while the TIGHAR team was reviewing HD video that was captured during the side-scan sonar search, which was not available in real time, according to a report on the TIGHAR website. They say it is certainly a man-made object that appears to have skidded down the underwater cliff and is of the size and shape that would be consistent with the Lockheed Electra. But the only way to know for sure is to return to Nikomaroru, and the group says that can't be done until they settle debts from their last expedition and raise funds for return. Nearly 60 years to the day after Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay climbed the world's tallest mountain, 48-year-old Russian Valerie Rossov has base jumped off the north face of Mount Everest at 23,667 feet to set a world record for the highest base jump in history. More than 2 years were spent preparing for the jump, including considerable time and effort devoted to developing a special new wingsuit, a special jumpsuit that shapes the human body into an airfoil, creating lift and with it human flight. Rossov and his team, which included 4 Sherpas as well as photographers and camera crew, spent nearly 3 weeks in the Himalayas before the jump on May 5th. The initial moments of the leap in the rarefied high-altitude air were the most critical phase, as Rossov needed more time than usual to transition from free fall to flying. But once the wingsuit took effect, he flew for nearly a full minute at speeds of 124 miles per hour along the north face, before he landed safely on the Rongbuk Glacier at an altitude of 15,520 feet. Rossov has more than 10,000 jumps to his name and has made headlines around the world in recent years for his spectacular leaps, including a 2009 jump into an active volcano, a 2010 leap from Yuvatana Peak in Antarctica, and a 2012 jump from the Shivling Mountain in the Himalayas that served as the final test for the Everest leap. And now it's time for our Aero video of the week. We all know that the Pitts Special is a favorite of aerobatic pilots and a familiar sight at air shows worldwide. But unless you travel to the UK and Europe, you may not have seen this team. Featured on today's Aero video of the week is a quick look at the UK's Trig Aerobatic team and their pits. Find it on YouTube by searching Trig Aerobatic Team HD. Last Wednesday saw Boeing reach yet another aviation manufacturing milestone with the delivery of the 50th 747-8. Deutsche Lufthansa AG, the launch customer of the passenger version, took delivery of the milestone aircraft almost 1 year after the first revenue flight of the 747-8 Intercontinental. It's the airline's 7th 747-8 and its 82nd 747. This milestone delivery also represents the shared commitment to quality, innovation, and affordability of Boeing and its global supply chain to produce the world's most iconic, fuel-efficient, large commercial airplane. The 747-8 has about 6 million parts manufactured by more than 550 suppliers in almost 30 countries. Boeing delivered the first 747-8 Intercontinental to Lufthansa in April of 2012. The airplane entered service on June 1, 2012, with a flight from Frankfurt, Germany to Washington, D.C. Well, that's our program for June 4th. Remember, you can get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories at aero-news.net. And please remember, Airborne is streamed twice weekly and is always online. Please join us again this Friday for a new edition of Airborne. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.